So I went to Facebook and I type in his name, and the first picture that pops up is of my own boyfriend and this woman in the most pretty and beautiful white wedding gown that I've ever seen at the altar getting married. Hey y'all, welcome to Spoken Like a True Goddess podcast, a space curated for goddesses worldwide where we embrace our true femininity, elevate our confidence, and walk into the beautiful and abundant lives we're destined for. On this platform, we discuss various topics, all with the intent to be able to connect deeper with ourselves and those around us. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I'm extremely grateful and I hope that everyone's doing well and feeling great. Before we get into today's episode, if you could please like and subscribe to our channel, I really appreciate it. It does beautiful things for the algorithm and allows us to connect with other women like us. Today, we're going to discuss how to properly date for marriage, how to show up in our wife energy, how to keep our standards high, and how to not negotiate our desires and what we really want. Over the break, I was scrolling on TikTok like I love to do, and I came across a video of a woman saying that she dates for experiences and not for commitment or marriage. Now, at one point in my life, when I was younger, I dated for experiences and I had great experiences. But I find that now I feel a lot more comfortable dating with the standard of marriage and commitment. I commented that on the video, and y'all, she ate me up. She ate me up. So she commented on the video, then she replied with a video. And not only did she eat me up, but then like her supporters ate me up. And the gist of what they were saying was that I'm a marriage warrior and I'm a pick me and I'm not the type of girl they would ever hang with. And I'm like, okay, I was trying to explain what I was saying, but whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. But then they said, oh, I only seek male validation. And that's where I draw the line because anybody who knows me know I do not seek male validation. Male validation is the most unreliable source of esteem. Like, I do not care what no man think about me. But at the same time, I do see value in marriage and in commitment. And that's all I was saying is that, okay, I shared that mindset and now I have a different mindset. And it seemed like you had that mindset of marriage and commitment earlier, and now you have a different mindset. It did not call for all that. Modern dating is such a crazy concept when you really sit down and think about it. What it's basically saying is, I like you enough to sleep with you. I like you enough to see you when it's convenient for me, but I don't really like you that much to make you my wife. Men are the only ones who benefit from non-committal situations. It's like they're trying before they're buying, and then they have the nerve to not even buy. It's equivalent to going to a restaurant, eating, and not paying the bill. It's implied. It's implied that if you eat here, you're going to pay the bill. And all dating with a standard of commitment and marriage is saying is that my heart and my coochie are a package deal. And you can have endless access to both once you create a stable and comfortable environment for me. And that's not an outlandish thing to require. In dating with this standard, it makes the good situations with men better, and it makes the situations that aren't so good not hurt as bad because you're not emotionally invested in a man who's not yours. So when I say that we should be dating with a standard of marriage and commitment, I'm not saying in a way that you have to be anxious and thirsty and every man you meet, it's like, oh, are you going to marry me? Are you going to marry me? No, what it's saying is I'm entering into this relationship with you. And once you create that stable environment, then we can go further in this relationship. But if you cannot create that environment for me, I'm not going to get emotionally invested until that is done. We have to make sure that we're not lowering our standards in negotiating our desires just so we can have someone around. And we have to be especially careful that we're not manipulating ourselves by saying, oh, I don't really want any commitment. Oh, I don't really want marriage, just so we could feel in control while dealing with men who weren't going to commit to you anyways. And yes, marriage is not for everyone. Not everyone has that desire to be a wife. But all I am saying is that make sure that your decision is not influenced by low vibrational men. Make sure you're not negotiating your standards just to have someone around because you're not believing you're worthy. If you find yourself negotiating your desires for marriage and commitment or compromising your wants and your needs when it comes to men, you have to question that. You have to ask yourself those deep and prying questions to get to the root of it. Why do you feel like you're unlovable? Why do you feel like you're not worthy for marriage? Why do you feel like you're only good enough for sex? Why do you feel that no one will marry you? You have to ask yourself these questions to get to the root and the bottom of what is causing you to negotiate in those areas. Now, after you ask yourself these deep and prying questions, if that's not really something that you want, then yes, of course, you should continue to date how you want to date. When dating for marriage, you have to go about it differently. Just like in everything else in life, you attract what you are. So if you want to be a wife, you have to be a wife before the man even appears. That way, your dating experience will be a lot better because you'll start attracting men who are also commitment and marriage minded, who are responsible, who see the benefit in family. You won't waste your time with men who aren't because you're not even a vibrational match for them. Let's talk about girlfriend or girl like energy versus wife and woman like energy. If you're struggling with dating and having a hard time finding men who are ready to commit, check your energy first. How are you showing up? Are you being emotionally available? Are you organized? Can you properly run a home? Do you have a princess mindset or a partner mindset? Are you emotionally stable? Are you peaceful? Are you showing up with girlfriend or girl like energy? Or are you showing up with wife womanly energy? Now, what's the difference between these two? So, girlfriend energy is very scattered. Like she's immature, she's emotionally unavailable, she has a hard time communicating, she's not emotionally safe, she's undisciplined, she doesn't know what she wants, she doesn't have a plan for the future, she doesn't know what to ask for. That's girlfriend energy, and it can be sensed. It's like a girl, like you're all over the place trying to figure things out, no true stability or anything like that. That's girl like or girlfriend energy. Wife energy or woman energy is queen energy, is goddess energy. So she's stable, she's disciplined, she knows how to run a home, she's secure, she has nothing to prove, she's emotionally and spiritually safe and stable. She has a growth mindset. She's warm, she's alluring, she's encouraging, she's attractive and sexy, but not in a lustful way. She has a plan for the future. She has a partnership mindset. These are more goddess, woman, wife energy. Showing up like this, you'll naturally attract men who can benefit from a woman like that, who also have vision and plan for the future, and they need a woman like that in their life. If you're showing up in the world with that girlfriend or girl like energy, you're going to repel men like that. You're going to find yourself running into those same cycles with men who are unserious. You have to show up and be what you're looking for. If you want a man who is stable, who is responsible, who takes on that more conservative or traditional role, then you have to also show up as a woman who is deserving of that and who can complement that. I work in healthcare and I see firsthand every day that life gets too sticky to have a partner who is not solid. Working in a hospital really changed how I view relationships and partnership. In the hospital, you see people at their lowest points. And just seeing the love that people share who have built very healthy and solid foundations with each other is just beautiful. And not only do you want someone to be able to show up for you in your lowest points, but also having that capacity to be there for someone else at their lowest points as well. Life gets too serious to go into a partnership for such shallow things. And that's what really trips me out with how relaxed people are about partnership and marriage. Being able to share that love and that commitment with someone is beautiful. Being able to build that type of life with someone is beautiful. And another thing I noticed while working in the hospital is that whenever I meet older couples, I ask them, "Oh, how long have you all been together? Like, how long have you all been married?" And they'll say, "Oh, we've been together 40 years or we've been together 30 something years." And I will always think, I'm like, man, I'm in my 30s. So I was like, man, I'm never going to have like that long of a relationship because I always thought that to have that long of a relationship, like you have to meet someone like in your 20s. And then I started doing the math. I'm like, wait. And when I'm asking deeper questions, it's like, wait, no, this a lot of times it's their second wives. So it's like second wives are really the true loves. No offense to first wives, like at all. But I'm just saying, like, if you are in your 30s, if you are in your 40s, like if you're living to your 80 or 70, you could still really build a strong foundation with someone and have years of love and years of legacy building. It is just literally the most beautiful thing to experience. Just watching these people who have built a life with each other, just taking care of each other in those times. Like it's really beautiful. And that's what I'm saying. Marriage and commitment is deeper than a lot of the things we highlight modern day. Like it's much deeper than a lot of the things we highlight. Yes, money's important. Yes, looks are important. But at the end of the day, life gets sticky and you want a real partner. Like you want someone that you can have a real connection with. And also, life is too short to just be with someone just to be playing around and playing games. Like it is very beautiful to build a connection with someone. So I don't know. Like I said, at one point I did have a very relaxed way of thinking about relationships and marriage. I did. But seeing real life, it influenced and it changed that. So here are some tips on how you can properly date for marriage and commitment so you can keep your heart open and intact for the man that you're actually supposed to be with. Okay, number one, don't roster date. Now, I know this sounds counterintuitive because how are you supposed to meet people if you're not dating at a large amount, right? Because dating is a numbers game. And if you want a higher chance of marriage, then you have to date more people, right? Wrong. First of all, roster dating, when you're dating 3, 4 men, your energy is all scattered everywhere. And we all know when you're roster dating, you have your favorite and you're using the other ones to distract you from when your favorite isn't acting right. Like we all know that. And secondly, dating multiple people just creates trauma that doesn't need to be there. A lot of the times, the extra guys that you're dating are not guys you really truly want to be with, anyways, but you're invested into the situation and you're just experiencing situations that you don't have to experience. When you are dating and you're dating for commitment and you're dating for like connection and something really strong, you're going to have to learn to resolve conflict. So instead of dating 3 or 4 guys, date the guy that you like. When a conflict arises, then you could handle it and you could learn how to handle conflict with him because that's the person who you're actually wanting to be with. But if conflict arises and you're like, okay, I'm just going to distract myself with this guy over here or these guys over there, then you're never building a strong foundation with that person. And also, dating multiple people is traumatic. You're experiencing things that you don't have any business experiencing because this isn't really the type of person you want to be with, anyways. I remember, I remember, okay, I was dating this guy, right? He was my boyfriend. Like, he's my boyfriend. And we were just leaving the movies. Like, we're driving back from the movies. And he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm going out the country for business in a couple weeks. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this was my first time hearing about it, but I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we talked about it. He's like, yeah, like he's going to be gone for a few weeks and things like that. Okay, cool. So we finished our evening. Like we had a great time. No big deal. A few weeks later comes and he goes out the country. And his communication was great. Like he made sure that I was fine before he left. It was no issue. Everything was perfectly fine. I'm just waiting on his arrival back home. So one day we get off the phone and I just had a sneaky suspicion. So we get off the phone and I'm like, I don't know, like something's not right. But it wasn't with his communication or anything like that because he's been communicating great. It's been no problem at all. But I just didn't feel right. Like something was not right. So I went to Facebook and I type in his name. And the first picture that pops up is of my own boyfriend and this woman in the most pretty and beautiful white wedding gown that I've ever seen at the altar getting married. Like, I'm not lying. Like, that was the first picture that pops up. So I'm so shocked. And it's so funny how it happened because it wasn't like his face was facing the camera and I just seen the back of her very pretty wedding gown. So had he had been the other way, I would have gaslit myself. Like that surely isn't my boyfriend at the altar getting married. It was perfectly like I see his big fat head. I'm like, that is him. So I screenshot it and I sent it to him. No, that's not what happened. So I screenshot it and I had like text him and I was like, did you go home to get married? And he's like, what? Like, why'd you ask that? And I sent him the picture. Y'all, my own boyfriend is going to say, where'd you get that from? That is not the question right now. Like, why did you leave to go get married? Like, what in the hell? And yes, to answer y'all question, yes, he was Nigerian. I had no clue of knowing that December was like mating season in Nigeria. I had no clue. Like, how would I even know that? So anyways, he's like, oh yeah, like, how did you get that? I was like, what do you mean? How did I get it? Like, did you go home to get married? He's like, well, you can be mad if you want to, or we can talk about this. We're going to talk about this. Call me. My ringer's on. So the next day, like he calls me and he's like trying to explain. And he's like, oh, he just wanted to do the right thing. He just had to do what's right. What's right for who? So it was just like very disappointing. And the biggest issue with that whole situation is he was never really a guy who I saw a future with, to be honest. It was like, okay, it was cool, it was convenient, and he was a nice guy, but he was never really anyone who I'm like, oh yeah, like this is my guy. So it made no sense to even take on that trauma from someone who I had no business or plan being with at all. Okay. So now fast forward a couple years later, I meet a really nice guy. Like I meet him, I like him. He's very commitment minded. For the most part, he was we're getting to know each other, but he was very intentional and serious, right? So we're dating and he has to leave the country for business. I was so anxious and just such a mess about it because now this is on my radar. Like, okay, this guy could be going back to his country to get married. Whereas before that was never even a paranoia of mine. Like that was never in my realm of thinking that someone could do something like that. So, I mean, I communicated that to him, like, I trust you, but I do just feel a little weird about this situation just because the past situation. And he, like I said, he's a really good guy. He was really like emotionally like stable and could communicate very well. So me being open and explaining that to him, he took extra effort to make sure he was communicating with me and make sure like I didn't, and he was being honest and I didn't feel anxious and things like that. But what was even the point of me getting that trauma in the first place with a guy who I had no business being with? And then you meet a guy who was like, yeah, I could really be with this guy, but now you're filled with trauma, unnecessary trauma. So that's why I really don't suggest roster dating, just dating a bunch of guys just for the hell of it, just for a good time, just for it's traumatic and it's a waste of energy. Like it has your energy everywhere. Number two is be authentic while dating. Be completely 100% yourself. Be honest about what your intentions are, what your desires are, and be honest and authentic about who you are at the core, who you are as a person. Play on your strengths. So you don't want to show up as like a one shoe fit all type of woman and think about, oh, okay, this is what men like, so this is what I'm going to do. Or I heard that if you do this, that just be yourself. If you're a sweet and a nice girl, then just be a sweet and a nice girl. But if you're naturally a nice and kind person, but you're taking advice from like the finesse queens on how to get men to commit to you or to spend money on you or whatever the case is, it's not going to be lasting. Because if you go into the situation like, okay, like finessing, manipulating and things like that, let's say it is successful and you do get some sort of commitment, you're going to go back to your natural state. You don't want to spend a lifetime of pretending if that's not who you are. Number three is that you want to practice some form of celibacy, and not celibacy for purity or shame, but celibacy for sacredness. You want to create your own standard of when you feel comfortable sharing that with someone. When you're entering into relationships with these men, just make sure that you can have a very safe and stable environment for you emotionally, spiritually, physically, before you involve yourself with them. We're women, and no matter what, we feel emotional attachments to men through sex. So you just want to make sure that you're protecting your heart, that you're protecting your health, that you're protecting your body, and just create some type of standard that works for you. Like no sex before commitment. If someone can't make a commitment to you, then that should be the last thing that's discussed or talked about. One thing with me, when I'm entering into relationships with guys or like we're getting to know each other, everything is very breezy and cool for me. Like everything is okay. Like I don't give them any pressure or anything like that. When they start bringing up sex, that's when I start talking about more of my standards and things that makes me comfortable. If you're bringing up sex, I'm going to start listing my demands as well, because that is such a bold ask, in my opinion. You have to have some type of standard when it comes to that. Like, it shouldn't just be something that they think they deserve just because. Like, okay, like we went on a few dates, so it's like, okay, this is naturally next. No, it's not. Everything could be very casual. If you're trying to take it to the next level, then we need to discuss how I can feel secure and safe by going to that next level. But it shouldn't be something that's just so easily obtained. And number 4 is learning how to get the F on. Okay? When you see that he's not someone who is ready for commitment or doesn't want to commit to you, you need to pick up your things and get on, because staying or prolonging that is only holding up your blessing and only delaying the time that you're going to be with the man that actually wants commitment. I'm not a fan of, okay, using this man to find your husband, or like, okay, I'm just going to like date him and then find my husband at the same time. In theory, it sounds okay, I guess, but it's really not realistic, because it takes up too much of your energy. It takes up too much of your time. What time will you have to really look for and build something with someone else? And also, you have to assume he's doing the same. If you're dating him but keeping your eye open for a husband, you have to assume that he's dating you and keeping his eye open for a wife. And do you know what's even worse is him finding that wife before you find that husband? That's not a good feeling. So you just want to eliminate as many games as possible. It's okay. We're adults. We could communicate. If someone's not willing to meet your desire, if they're not willing to raise to that standard, it doesn't have to be in a nasty way, but it's like, okay, you have a goal, you have a desire, so don't entertain anything that's not that. Number 5 is to vet him to see if he even values what you have to offer. A lot of times we think that, okay, a woman is supposed to act like this, a wife is supposed to act like this, and a man or a husband will value it. That's not always the case. If you're someone who can cook very well, or who can pray, or who can work a room, but he doesn't see value in that, then there's nothing that you can do to be valuable to him. Partner with someone who needs what you have to offer. Take inventory of the things that you need from a partner to feel safe and secure, and also take inventory of what you have to give to someone else. Now, when you're dating and you're talking and they don't have a need for what you have to offer, then okay, that's great. You guys just aren't a match, and that's okay. But if you try to stick around and try to make what you have work for them, it's just a waste of time, and you could be using that on someone who can benefit from what you naturally have to offer. If you're a very peaceful person, a very emotionally stable person, but you're with a man who is messy and who does things to try to get a reaction out of you, no matter what, you'll not be good for him. He'll not see value in that, because he gets a rise out of pushing buttons, and he gets a rise out of drama and negativity. So no matter what, you'll be boring. You'll never be enough for him. He'll always go around trying to get that rise out of you because you're too peaceful. So it's no point of even wasting your time on something like that. So you want to vet, you want to ask these questions, you want to see how you all can mesh into each other's lives. Like, one thing that I ask men when I'm dating them and we get to that point is like, what's something that you feel like you're missing in your life? And not all the time that directly, but it's like, I really want to know if there is a need that I can feel, right? And if it's something that I can't, then it's like, okay, yeah, we're just not a good match. But if it's something that I can, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, I know how to be of service or helpful to you or this situation. I was dating one guy and he was going out of town. He was very, very busy guy. I could help you pack and I could like help you get ready for the trip. And he was very appreciative of it. Like it was something that he could value, you know? So that's how you want to go about things, like seeing how you can fit into their life and what you can offer and what you can be helpful with, and also vice versa. Authenticity and love go hand in hand. So when you're dating, especially when you're dating more intentionally, you're dating for marriage, you're dating for commitment, you want to make sure that you're vibrating at these frequencies. You want to make sure that you're authentic, and you want to make sure that you're operating from your heart and from love. So women spend way too much time thinking about what men want. Be your authentic self, show up and just be yourself, and whoever is a energetic match for you will naturally attract to you. Whoever is not will naturally repel from you. Don't go into dating, especially serious dating, pretending, because that's not lasting. And it's no point of putting in that type of energy and effort just to actually get into the relationship. And now you're saying that you're not a match. It makes no sense. And that's why so many things fail. And you always hear, oh man, like she changed or he changed. It's like everyone's pretending. Just go in it authentically. This is what I can give, and this is what I desire. And how can we come together and make this work? If you get into the relationship being a finesser and always have to manipulate and things to get him to do things for you, and that's not your natural state, what are you going to do when you get into the relationship? And now it's a lifetime of you having to manipulate him whenever you need something done. You need the trash taken out, and you got to play some mind game to get the trash taken out. You need a picture put up, and you got to play some game to get a picture put up. And that's just not your natural state. It makes no sense. Or that advice when they're like, oh, if you want to make a man fall in love with you, you got to stress him out. What if you're a peaceful person and then your whole life you're up here like finding ways to stress this man out? Like that does not make any sense. So you just want to be authentic. You just want to be true to yourself. And you want to build a solid foundation so you can have something lasting. You want to do what works for you. Me personally, I'm a very direct person. I love direct communication, and I don't do well in gray areas. So I naturally do well with men who are also very direct. Men who are too busy that they can't play games. Like, tell me what you need so I could do it and we could just move on from this. So I could never be with a guy who I had to play those type of games with, or who did not like or was offended by direct communication or something like that. I know that about myself. So I go into situations knowing, hey, I'm going to be authentic in this way because I know that that can be off-putting to someone, but I can't spend a life pretending. Like I can't spend a life acting, oh, nonchalant or like a finesser. I am not a good finesser at all. Like if I need something, I'm going to ask for it. If I desire something, I'm going to ask for it. And if you can't meet it, okay, but I can't like be pulling strings in the back to get something done. That just doesn't work for me. And I couldn't spend a lifetime doing that. I know that. So I just am very authentic and very honest up front. And it eliminates a lot of the wasting time and wasted energy as well. That's all I have for today, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like the video, comment and interact. And until next time, bye.